you know, if you want to grow, like really sit down and look at like schedule, like am I really going to be noticed, or am I just going to be like bottom of the barrel in this huge like crazy like 1,000 views, like, you know, the first like 5 rows of this game. So it just kind of depends on what you want to achieve, you know. Like if you really want that bad, compromise a little bit. Like I really like this really saturated game, but I really want to grow.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Stream Key podcast, where each week we break down how to level up your streaming game on Twitch. And this week we're back once again with mshoboslayer, who's been on before, but is freshly partnered. So really excited about that. Amy, how's it going today?
It's pretty good. Pretty good. How's it going over there with you guys?
Good. Super busy with all the charity stream stuff and post TwitchCon stuff, but lots of cool stuff happening for sure. Thank you so much for coming on today. I know you've been on before, and I had to grab you back in here, so thanks.
Oh yeah, I'm super stoked about today, so it should be a good one.
Yeah, for sure. This week, guys, if you haven't seen already, the topic is going to be, really it's not even a topic as much as just exploring Amy's kind of path to partnership on Twitch, how she got there, because she has been streaming for 4 years, more than 4 years now, based if my research is correct. On Twitch, yep. And that's a perspective that we haven't really covered here yet. We've talked about people who have been partnered, but it was relatively quickly for them, like within less than a year. So this is someone who's been doing it for a long time. So I'm really excited to unpack that, the lessons to be had there, and just like the whole experience of what that was like. So it should be a really good topic discussion. And the way it'll work is Amy and I will talk about the first 40 minutes or so, just interview style, one-on-one. And then at the end, if you have a question for her about, you know, her journey to partnership or something else related to Twitch, you can ask it then. So just save your questions for now, but we will get to them, I promise. So I have a couple of warm questions that I asked earlier on the show, but Amy's been on before, so I had to mix it up a little bit here. First of all, I do think we should probably do a quick refresher on your channel for people who, again, haven't seen you or just want to get a reminder about what kind of stuff you do.
Okay.
Sweet. Yeah, so can you just kind of give us a rundown on, again, the stuff that you stream, and maybe last time we talked, you were an affiliate, now you're a partner. So has like your content kind of shifted at all since that happened?
Well, like I said last time, like I still consider myself a variety streamer, but most of you who, you know, are familiar with my channel know this already. Those of you who don't, I have a huge focus on Fallout at the moment. If you guys look in my background here, probably I would say the majority of the random little knickknacks I have back here is like it's Fallout related. So as soon as Fallout 76 was announced, I was like, you know what, let's go all out on Fallout. So pretty much since that was announced, which was when was that, like it was like at E3 I think that it was announced. Yeah. So since then it's been like pure Fallout. Majority of the content has been 4, but I've done a little bit of New Vegas, and I've streamed most of the beta days for 76. So nice. Variety streamer with a huge focus on Fallout at the moment. So
sweet. So seeing the release and the announcement of 76 kind of spurred that whole direction for your channel?
Oh yeah.
Okay, nice. I want to unpack that more a little bit later on, but that's a good kind of refresher for people about what kind of stuff you do on your channel for sure. My second question, which is kind of cool to ask now. So after, like, I guess in the moment that you realized that you got accepted for partnership, either via email or whatever, like what was that moment like for you? Were you streaming? Was it the middle of the night? Like what was that like for you?
Okay, so, and like, you knew this and a few other people knew this, and this kind of goes back to like that tweet that you tweeted out like shortly after I made it about like, you know, don't announce like trying to get goals too early. I actually applied for partnership on like, I think it was July 29th or 30th, because you can get it without the path to partnership, but it's just a lot harder. And it takes a lot longer to hear back. So I applied way back then, and then I actually hit the path to partnership, I guess it was October 10th, because I got the email on October 17th at 3 a.m. Because like I'm kind of a night owl, and like you know, every email, you know, that I would get, like, especially after I hit the Path to Partnership, I was like, is this the email? Is this the email? You know, and like I was just like laying there and I was like, oh, I have an email. Okay, it's probably like junk or whatever. And I look on my phone and I'm like, this is the email. And I was like freaking out. I was like 3 a.m. because, I mean, I don't really know how they roll the emails out, or, if they put them on a timer or what, but I would expect like business hours,
Yeah,
because
right.
like I was expecting like during the day, and like I got that at 3 a.m. and I was like, what? And I was like, I have to get my laptop. I have to like look at stuff. I have to set stuff because I had like a few emotes ready to like, to upload when I unlocked all those emotes. And I was like, I have to get all this stuff done right now, even though it was like 3 a.m. and like nobody's going to care, because I wasn't going to start streaming at that moment. And like the 17th was actually a Wednesday, and my schedule is like, I stream every day except Sundays and Wednesdays are my off days. And I was like, I could stream today, but I'm going to stick to my schedule. So that was kind of weird for a lot of people. They're like, you're not streaming today and it's your first day of being partner? I was like, patience, my child. You will see me tomorrow and we will party then. So I streamed on Thursday. So yeah, it was like, I was excited, but it was 3 a.m. and I was like, what? But yeah, it was exciting, but it wasn't like I don't know, like I don't mean to like downplay it, but it wasn't like a, oh my gosh, like I've accomplished everything. It was more like a, okay, I've done this, so now all these other doors open, and now there's so much more to do, if that makes sense. So
yeah, for sure.
That was my reaction to it. So
awesome. So it's 3 a.m. That's so weird because we've had like the Path to Partnership accomplishments for a while, just because of event streams. We always get that number. And I know that we're not going to get it, but I just apply every once in a while just to see what happens. And yeah, we always get the responses at like 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. So I don't know who's setting these. Like somebody over in Asia or something is reviewing partner applications, but it's really
maybe
weird.
So.
Yeah. But it's cool to hear like your whole story of, I always like hearing how it happened for people because it's always really exciting, and they're always in different circumstances when they get the email or notification. So very cool. So since the 17th, you said, right? So that's what, about 3 weeks now, maybe 4?
Yeah.
A little over 3 weeks,
almost,
it looks like.
Yeah, it's almost a month. So.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah, I remember seeing your partnership stream and everything too. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet. So my last kind of warm-up question for you is, what is and this is sort of like blends in between warm-up and actual discussion, but what has the coolest perk of partnership been for you so far? Like the biggest thing that right away has really been great for you?
I would say probably the top thing that I was most excited about was the emotes. That's something that like I've always wanted to be able to offer subs, is like more emotes, because like, you have 3 as an affiliate, and the majority of your subs are going to only have 1. I mean, you might have a few people who are tier 2 or tier 3, but most people are going to sub with that tier 1, and that's 3 max, which is not bad. But it's just like I want to be able to offer them more, and like I'm a very I would say probably like really animated, like kind of out there personality at times. So there's a lot of like inside jokes and like memes in my channel. So like moon pies became like this thing in my channel like a few months ago, and it's like we have to have a moon pie emote, so, and like John Cena, like I'm honestly surprised that one made it, but like
yeah,
John
amazing.
Cena is like a thing, so I'm like, I need a John Cena emote for the memes. So it's just like I want to be able to show that like in chat, and for like the subs to be able to kind of interact with that that inside joke on like the next level with an emote. So
yeah. Awesome. I see the chat is spamming the emotes right now, so you can see all of them in full display.
The moon pies. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then there's a lot of other cool perks, and obviously like stream team stuff.
Right.
That's something that I've really wanted to do for a long time. And then like you get a little bit more with revenue, but it's not like people think like, oh man, partners are just rolling in it, you know, like they're making all the money. Like, don't downplay affiliates. That is such an amazing program that Twitch came out with, and like I wish they would have had that like way back when I first started, you know, like it's, don't think that being an affiliate is not cool, because I know affiliates that have way more subs and make way more money than I do as a partner. Right. You have the potential to do just as well or more than a partner. Like, there's not that huge of a difference. Like, I get ad revenue now, but you know, I'm not going to get into like details, but I'm not going to go buy an exotic car with my ad revenue. Okay. Like, it's not, but I mean, I don't mean to downplay partnership. I mean, I'm obviously very happy I have it, but to you affiliates out there, you can do good too with the whole revenue thing. Like, it's not, don't shoot for partnership due to revenue differences, basically is what I'm trying to say. So
yeah, they've closed a lot of that gap between affiliates and partnership in terms of revenue, for sure. So that's a good point.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sweet. Okay, let's get into the main discussion of it here. So first of all, let's just kind of go deep on your whole journey on Twitch basically so far, and eventually to partnership. Because again, I listened to our last interview, and it sounded like you'd been streaming for about 4 years or so on Twitch since 2014. So what is, again, remind us kind of the path to get here, and just over the years how your stream went.
Okay, yeah, so like you said, I started in like the summer of 2014. I'm so bad because I do not remember the first day that I streamed, because I was like, man, this is kind of a whatever thing. I might like it, I might not. I don't know. I started on a laptop in a dark corner of my room playing RuneScape. I mean, I didn't even talk to people, so it wasn't like that noteworthy, like, oh, I need to remember this date, so then when I'm like, you know, a big timer here, I'm gonna have like this anniversary stream. I didn't care to remember, so I don't know. I just say summer of 2014. Like, I started out with RuneScape, and then I started to play a little bit more variety. I remember like the first like person who came in and was really like the first like supporter was like, yo, I'm gonna buy you Minecraft for PC and you're gonna play it. And I'm like, what? I've only played Minecraft on the Xbox. What is this? Minecraft's on computer? I had no idea. Like, I was so like just dumb about everything, you know? And I was like, wow. And so I got into Minecraft like hardcore. Like, and I got like pretty up there. And, you know, that's another thing that a lot of people don't realize is, like, you know, I got pretty popular with Minecraft. Like, I was hitting, like, triple digits and was doing pretty well for myself. And I applied for partner a few times in the past, and I got denied, like, every time. And, like, real-life events, like job, personal life, stuff like that would get in the way and would cause me to have to take breaks. So, like, I've been streaming for 4 years, but there have been times where I've had to take, like, pretty decent chunks like off. Like, I think the longest break I took was like 6 to 8 months just to, like, you know, like recollect myself and sort of find like my direction of like where I wanted to go with it. And kind of goes back to the other podcast, you know, that I was on, like with the whole like taking care of yourself like mentally and, you know, making sure that you're okay instead of just like grinding away, because I got like way too obsessed with it. And like when you have like a big goal of like partnership or something and you push so hard for it and you don't get it, it can be like soul crushing. And you know, I've made a lot of mistakes in the past, like, hey guys, we're totally gonna get it, I'm doing really awesome at Minecraft and I'm gonna apply for a partner and I'm gonna get it, and it's like I didn't get it, dang it, you know, like crap, like I'm totally crushed. And like I was so, you know, cocky and had such, you know, determination that like, I'm definitely gonna get it this time. And it's like stuff like that can definitely like affect your like overall, you know, thought process of like everything you do with it. So I was like, I definitely need to take time, and you know, like real life stuff, you know, affected that. So I was like, I just need a little bit of a break. And then I came back to it, and I've been variety for the majority of the streaming. And then when Fallout 76 was announced, I was like, this is it. This is my plan. Because, you know, you can make partnership being like pure variety, but everybody, well, most everybody knows that it's a lot easier if you focus on like one game. So I was like, I'm not going to just only do Fallout forever, because I've been very open with my viewers, because I'm like, you know, like new people come in and they're like, hey, do you play any other games? I'm like, I do. Actually, I'm a variety streamer. It's just, you know, right now we're focused on Fallout. We're super hyped for the 76 release, so we're going to do like a ton of Fallout stuff. So, you know, like when 76 was announced, I'm like, all right, you know what? I've been doing this for 4 years. This is my plan. Because, you know, like you can sit and you can study numbers, and, you know, everybody always says, and it's true. It's true. Like, you find a game that's not super saturated, but not a game that has like no views,
right?
And you work at that, and that's what worked with me for Fallout. Because like right now I'm literally like one of the top Fallout streamers on the platform, because like I was like, I'm gonna stick with this and I'm gonna build myself up. So now I'm like, if I'm not the top Fallout 4 streamer, I'm like in the top row, like at least top 5. And I was like, this is my plan. So that's what I did. Like this year, like has mainly been like Bethesda games. Like I played Skyrim earlier, and then when Fallout 76 was announced, I'm like, we're gonna do Fallout. So here we are.
So some follow-up questions to that I had. First of all, when you had the Minecraft situation, that was triple digits. Like how far into streaming was that for you?
Oh, that was definitely like the first 2 years. And I think the last time I applied for partnership was like February, March 2016. I think I'd have to go back and look in my like rejection email pile, you know. But I was like, you know, it was one of those things like you get so like focused on that, and like so obsessive, and you're like, this is like the end goal, you know. And I've made like many mistakes with streaming. I'm not perfect. I've been way too eager about things. I've been way too over the top, and things like that can be good, because it can make you kind of like realize like, you know what, I probably need to like, you know, bring it down a little bit. I probably need to take a little bit of a chill pill and focus on other things, because my content as a whole, like I haven't really changed that much. I've just like became a little more like comfortable with myself, and I've like just like improved my craft. So it wasn't necessarily anything like I was doing wrong with like my content. It was just maybe like I was getting ahead of myself a little bit. So things like that like kind of made me and like other things with my life, like my personal life at the moment was like crazy. So I was like, I really just need to like, you know, just think about stuff and just take a little bit of time to cool off. And when I came back to it, I was like, we're gonna go at this in a different way. I'm just gonna like relax and enjoy the journey a lot more than just trying to like purely, we gotta focus on this stuff, you know, we gotta do this, you know. So that helped.
Gotcha. Yeah, so that was like 2 years though since that moment. You were still grinding on Twitch for a long time. And one of my other questions was going to be, which you kind of talked about, like whether this was just a matter of waiting essentially and just doing the same thing until like it just snowballed into what it is, or if you made like a deliberate change and that created an impact, which it sounds like that was sort of the direction you took this year with Fallout stuff, because it wasn't exactly the same stuff you'd always done. Would you agree with that?
So repeat that again. You were kind of a little like boo boo boo, so I couldn't hardly understand the last thing. No, you're fine. I followed most of it, but I was like, I didn't really understand the last thing you said.
Right. Basically, my question was like whether this was a result of you just grinding over time, or if you changed something deliberately on your channel that resulted in the bigger growth than had been for the last 4 years. And it sounds like you made a pretty deliberate decision to move into Fallout this year, and that really changed the direction of your channel a little bit. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, like yes and no. Like me as like how I like handle things and how I interact with people has been like very much the same. The two big changes I did was the choice to focus on Fallout, and I've done a little bit of schedule changing, which like we kind of talked about in the last podcast, like I used to stream like every single day. That is like, I mean, some people that works for, but you will get burnt out so fast. And that's what I used to do like way back then, because I would think like, well, if I'm going to play a game, I have to do it on stream. You know, if I have free time, I need to stream because there might be somebody that sees me that they would, you know, they wouldn't normally see. But then it's like, you need breaks, you need time for yourself. And I used to stream a lot later. Like I used to stream like 8 p.m. till late, you know, like 2, 3 in the morning. So now like I have like a like 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. And sometimes like more on the weekends, like I'll go later, sometimes like midnight or later. So that has helped a ton. And I can't stress like how important, like sometimes like if say you're playing like this game you really like, which, you know, it's really hard to find like a balance from like games you enjoy and games you can find growth with. You kind of have to compromise and find like that sweet spot in the middle, because you know, I have some friends who really like World of Warcraft. You know, I know some really great streamers who stream World of Warcraft, but it's such a saturated game. And, you know, like League of Legends and stuff. I mean, you know this. You're a big League guy. So it's so hard. I mean, and like Destiny 2, like all this stuff that people are really into, like somebody, and, you know, I do pretty well for myself with views, but in the partner world, I'm still a little person, you know, like I'm tiny compared to some of these people, but even somebody at my level would be scared numbers wise to go try to play something like World of Warcraft or League or, you know, Destiny 2, whatever. It's just, you know, but if, you know, scheduling, people don't realize how big of an impact scheduling can have. Because, like, if you're doing, like, this schedule and you see that, like, this isn't really working for me, try to switch up your schedule. Because that made a huge difference for me, because I'm more of, like a late person, you know, like, I'm kind of a night owl, but a lot of people, especially, like, regulars, don't stay up that late because of work. So I'm like, let's compromise. Let's do like late afternoon, like ending like right at like bedtime. And that's helped me a ton. I mean, obviously Fallout has been the biggest thing, but I changed my schedule before I got into Fallout, and so my numbers were already like on the rise, but Fallout was definitely like that. Oh, this girl, she wears the vault suit. She plays Fallout all the time. Like, I'm gonna hang out with her. So I definitely found like a good bit of success with that. And that's, I think, another thing, because like when I chose to play Fallout, I was like, we're not just going to play Fallout, we are going to be Fallout. I'm going to do everything. Like, I have a Pip-Boy up there, if you guys can see that. I have the vault suit. Like, I mean, hardcore. And not everybody can do that. I'm not saying you have to do that. It's just that was something that meant a lot to me, and I've always wanted to do. I'm like, I've never really dressed up for a game before. Let's do this. And I love Fallout. I want a vault suit. So that's what I did. And like, my vault suit, it's not a go to your local, like, you know, Halloween store. No, this was like custom made, like custom, like they got my measurements. It's like only me could wear it. Yeah. So it'd be what it be. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, some really good stuff there. I think, you know, you mentioned picking a really smart game in terms of something that's not dead, but something that can give you a chance of being seen and not buried by everyone streaming it. Schedule is huge, like you said, and not always streaming, because a lot of people feel that pressure to, you know, like every second I'm not doing something is a second I could be streaming, and a second people could be finding me. But in reality, like, you can really burn yourself out that way. So I love that point as well. And then also the fact that you like went so deep and all in on Fallout was huge, I think. And I saw you kind of adding things to it over time. Like, you didn't just, you know, get all this stuff ready and go and then change nothing. You kept adding more things to it over the course of that growth, in terms of like the vault suit or new things to your setup, or like the Fallout emotes and all sorts of things themed around that game. And I think that's a really cool idea that I think people don't really look into as much. So do you think that was a big part of your success as well?
I think so. And, you know, like I've like you said, like the emotes, like I have two like dedicated Fallout emotes, but I'm very open with my community, and I've even had like hardcore Fallout people come in and they're like, "Wow, I really like watching you play Fallout. Have you ever played this game? Have you ever played this series of games before?" And I'm like, "I have," or "No, I haven't. Would that be something you guys would like to see on the channel?" Like, and that's a thing. Like, people who are like variety streamers who want to focus on a game, like, be honest and open with your community, because yeah, like when I go back to variety, I'm gonna take a hit. I know that I am. I mean, there's gonna be some people who only want to watch Fallout, and that's fine. Like, I knew that like going into it, and that's something you need to keep in mind if you do want to do what I did. But just be, just remind them here and there, like, hey guys, we're playing this game, but I do play other games, with community outside of Twitch. Remind them, like, hey, this other game's coming out at this time. I'm going to stream that, at some point. And, like, I originally said that I was going to wait until January to go back to variety, but I actually made, like, a straw poll to see what people wanted, because I've had so many people like, hey, whatever's coming out, are you going to stream that? I'm like, well, I said I was only going to do Fallout till January, but what do you guys want to see? And surprisingly, like, I thought, like, oh, people are going to vote, like, mostly Fallout, until January. But no, I put, like, 3 options, like, pure variety, mostly Fallout with a little bit of variety, which is honestly what I mostly want to do, or only Fallout. And I have, like, a crazy amount of votes for the mostly Fallout, but a few days of variety. So, just be open. And, if that's what you do, to just, like, remind them and tell them. So.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I think the idea of, like you said, switching from single game to variety is always going to be tricky for people. But I think, you mentioned, and I think I would agree, that growth is definitely easier when you're going single game. It's really interesting to think about, like, that jump, like, whether... I think what you did is smart in terms of, like, eventually you want to stay variety, right, and move to that. But you used Fallout in the meantime to push for partnership. And it wasn't like you were just using it. I mean, you enjoyed it, and that was part of your channel. But at the same time, it was smart for you to do it strategically to get partnership along the way. And then that gives you more attention if you want to move into variety, where it would have been harder to just grow that organically. So I think it's a really cool strategy, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. So I think if people should think about that more if they are variety casters, like using some time to focus on something to build a brand, and then eventually kind of springboarding off of that into variety. That makes sense to me. I like that a lot.
Yeah. And like, I mean, like you said, like, I've always liked Fallout. Like, when Fallout 4 came out, like, I pre-ordered it, I streamed it a good while on my channel, and then I moved on to something else. And then, like, I've revisited it like over the years, like, since it came out in like 2015. So I've streamed it a good bit, like, here and there. And it, like, watch, like, news, like, keep up with what's coming out. And, like, the way I did it was like, okay, well, and again, like, I played Skyrim a good bit, like towards the beginning of the year, because I'd never played Skyrim before. I know, crazy that I'm so late to the bandwagon here, but I was like, oh my gosh, why have I never played Skyrim before? It's amazing, because I've always been, like, Bethesda wise, I've always been more Fallout versus Elder Scrolls. I like Elder Scrolls, but I'm drawn to Fallout more. And I was like, and, like, overall, like, I'm a huge fan of, like, the open world survival games, like 7 Days to Die, Rust, Ark, things like that. So then when 76 was announced, and I was like, this is, like, my 2 favorite things combined. It's open world survival type stuff as Fallout. This is it. And, like, since I've hit partnership, when I do return to variety, Fallout is always going to have a place on my channel. Like, there will probably be at least, even if I get, like, super into another game, like, who knows? There might be something else that comes out that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is, like, the next best favorite thing. There will probably be at least 1 or 2 days that I always stream Fallout, like, every week. Unless, like, some big event. But, like, 76 is just, like, I mean, I know a lot of people don't like it, but I personally am blown away with it, and I'm excited about the beta later today. I bet a lot of you guys are too. But, yeah, like, you know, like I thought it was a smart move. And I think it would help a lot of people if you like, if you have a favorite game and there's like a series of it, or like whatever, or even like a developer, like, oh well, they announced this other game. Well, I'm gonna get into like this world and really play this other game because like 76 was announced. A lot of people were getting all up on the Fallout hype, and I knew that that's what was going to happen. Everybody's like, I'm excited about 76. I'm gonna go watch Fallout 4 streamers. So I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. And honestly, like I play New Vegas for the most part, which New Vegas it's a little dated. It hasn't aged as well as I would have liked. But I love New Vegas. New Vegas is honestly, like, single player wise, probably my favorite Fallout, with like story and just like the game features and stuff. But it has some issues with crashing, and it crashed like 3 times in one stream. I'm like, nope, I'm done. I'm going back to 4. So yeah, just like do your research. Like if like a developer or series is going to have like another game or anything, like if there's any kind of like new thing about a game or a hype coming up for it, as long as it's not super saturated. And I'm not saying you can't play, like Destiny 2 comes out like new expansions and DLC all the time. Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't play Destiny 2, because if that's like your jam, do it. Do what makes you happy ultimately. But like, if you want to grow, like really sit down and look at like schedule, like, am I really going to be noticed, or am I just going to be like bottom of the barrel in this huge, like crazy, like 1,000 views, like, the first like 5 rows of this game. So it just kind of depends on what you want to achieve. Like if you really want that bad, compromise a little bit. Like, I really like this really saturated game, but I really want to grow, just kind of like, well, there's this other game that's kind of like that, kind of in the same idea, so I'm going to play that. Kind of like, if somebody plays like World of Warcraft, like look for another MMO RPG that might not be as saturated, but like you might not like it as much, but it's going to be like kind of the same vibe, and you might can enjoy it, and you might get a little bit more success. And like a lot of times, people are going to enjoy the same games in the same genres. So if you build up people who like you for they're going to watch you play anything. So, I mean, it's not going to, whatever I do is not going to work for everyone, but, it might help.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I like how specifically, like, you really built a strategy around a new game releasing, but rather than just waiting for that to launch and streaming it, you kind of laid the groundwork months really in advance for that to come out, by playing past titles, like you said, to kind of just be in people's minds for that game series, and then also just building things on your stream around the game, whether it's, the stuff you dress up in, or things physically in your stream, emotes, just building a whole brand around that in preparation for a launch. I think it's a really cool idea, and you could definitely do it with other game series that are in a series, or story games and things like that. It's hard with multiplayer stuff like, MOBAs and MMOs and things, but there's definitely still ways you could do that, I think. So that's really smart, and I haven't heard a lot of people do that before. So I hope that is helpful for people listening, for sure. Oh. Now my sound went out.
Oh no!
All sorts of issues today. Restart this real quick.
Okay.
Come on. Kick on there.
Course, like it would be me that would have all these issues.
I think this computer is dying. Maybe. Oh, I think I got it. Yeah, I got it back. Okay, there we go.
Awesome.
So, kind of wrapping it up here. We're about to go into Q&A. A couple more questions for you. One of the biggest ones would be, so for people who are kind of in the same situation, who have been streaming for a long time on Twitch, and they've always had this goal of partnership but can't quite get there, and feel like maybe they're kind of stuck in the same plateau, like what kind of advice would you have, having gone through this process of finding something new and finally pushing towards that goal and reaching it?
Yeah, okay, so I have like a few like things, like I've been thinking about this. I'm like, man, there's so much stuff I want to say. something that I really thought about, and I actually talked about this with like my group yesterday, day before. It seems like there's like, in my mind, there's like 3 categories of streamers on Twitch. You've got your personalities, your knowledge, and your skills people. Find like which one you kind of fit in and kind of focus on that. Like, you know, like personality, that's like your kind of out there, you react to everything, you're just like real, just, you know, I would consider myself like a personality. Knowledge, that's like, to those of you who watch or are into Fallout, this is who I would categorize like somebody like Oxhorn. Somebody who goes into like deep lore, you watch to like learn about the game. So, you know, necessarily you don't have to be good at the game. You know, Oxhorn's not necessarily the best at Fallout, but you watch his videos to learn the lore of like Fallout games. And then skills, I mean, that's like your like competitive players, people who are like insanely good, you know, but they might not necessarily interact with chat a lot. You know, personality people, they're going to be super interactive with chat. They're going to talk to you. They're going to react to things. They're going to be like, you definitely watch them for, you know, for them versus the game. And you can be like a combination of these 3 things. Like, I'm not like the worst at Fallout, but I'm definitely not the best. And I don't necessarily know like a ton about like the deep lore stuff. Like, I know enough, but there's things that I would have no idea. And like somebody in chat's like, hey, did you know this fact? I'm like, holy crap, no, I did not. That is really cool to know. So, you know, like, kind of pick like your strengths and focus on them, because not everybody is going to be like a big personality type, you know, like not everybody's going to be bubbly and be super comfortable with just like super chatty and stuff like that. But you might be really good at the game. People will watch people who are like insanely good at something. You're not real chatty, you're not real, you know, your personality's not just like bam out there, you're not real good at the game. Do you know a lot about the game? Do you know, can you sit and talk about lore? Can you go and find like Easter eggs and stuff like that? Like, I don't know, like that's how I see it. And I think that you know, if you feel like you're in like a rut about stuff, kind of sit and like think about who you are on your channel, like what kind of content do you make, like who are you on Twitch, you know, like kind of, you know, if you're trying to be like MLG Pro here and you're not really that good at the game, you're probably not a big skills person, you know. You might think you are, but really sit down and think honestly, like, what is my channel, you know, like who am I, like what am I, is this, you know. I think that would really help people if they really sit and think about like what their strong points are versus like what they want their strong points to be. And another thing that like I see people do a lot that like kind of bothers me is like, you don't need the best and most expensive equipment to make it, especially starting out. Like, don't go spend like $1 gajillion on like an audio setup. Don't get like a DSLR camera. Like, I'm rocking a Blue Yeti and a C9 22x webcam, and I just recently got the C9 22x. I've been rocking the C9 20, which really, there's not that big of a difference between the two. It's just that one was on sale, and I'm like, hey, it's like, I think it was like $40 when it was normally like 100 and something when Logitech had that crazy sale. I'm like, it's gonna be a little treat yourself, you know, I'm gonna get that. But I see so many people who think, well, I'm not growing, I really need to go buy like $1,000 in audio equipment. I'm like, no, you do not. Like, you want to have quality, you know, with your equipment, but you don't need to spend like all this money, because that's not gonna like make your stream better. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want quality, but if you're not getting numbers, it's probably something that you need to change, like schedule or game or like attitude wise versus your equipment. Like, if you have, like I said, like you can, I mean, a lot of people go with the blue snowball, you know, I mean, it's cheap and it gets the job done. And then when you're actually, you know, getting those numbers and you're bringing more income in, like, upgrade to something. But it bothers me when people like, I'm just going to start streaming. I just spent like, you know, $5,000 on my entire setup. I'm like, why did you do that? Start with something simple and then get there. I mean, that's my personal opinion. It just, I see a lot of people do that, and then they're like, man, I'm not ninja in like the 3 months that I've been streaming. I quit and I'm going to sell it all and get half the price of what I gave for it. And it's like,
Yeah.
don't get ahead of yourself. And like another thing, and this will be the last thing I say, be genuine with like the communities that you want to be a part of. Like it's one of those things that I've especially seen a lot now. People will like hop to like different people and different teams that they think like, I don't really want to put in the work. I'm just going to hop to this person that I think will give me success, and I won't have to do anything. I can just piggyback off them. We see that. You ain't slick, okay? Like, I've noticed that a lot. Like, I'm real chill about it, but it's like, you didn't really come around before, but now you're like, I'm going to buddy up with you real good, you know? Like, not trying to be mean, but, like, people see that, you know? Like, if you, and I'm not saying you can't come in late to a community after, like, the, like, head streamer of that is, you know, a lot more successful, but be genuine with your, you know, your attempts. Like, don't just, like, hey, I'm going to say hi, and then, like, expect you to do all this stuff for me. Like, genuinely try to network and talk to people in the community, and I'm sure you see this stuff too. You know, like, I mean, in True, it's, but, you know, it's like, I've seen it before, but I really see it now, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't mind, but, like, you know, I treat my whole channel as a community. It's like, you're not going to have to suck up to me, you know, I want you to see play nice with everybody. So, right. You know, to those of you who want to grow, if you want to join a community and, you know, be a part of something and, you know, get the benefits of being friends with a bigger streamer, be genuine about it. Don't just try to, like, well, hey, yeah, we're friends, right? You're gonna throw me a bone over here. Like, be legit about it, because we can definitely tell when that's happening, and you're not really getting anything from us.
Right. Yeah. I love all those points. I mean, definitely, like you said, you can't fake it on Twitch. Like, you can't, there's no shortcuts, no gaming the system. You can't, like, find the best places to be and the right things to say and network your way to growth. It's really, like you said, just you have to make authentic relationships over time, and you can't speed it up. I also love what you said about the entertainment stuff, because basically a lot of people think that they just have to have a good personality or really good skill or something with streaming. Or like you said, they think they have the wrong strength. Like, they think they're really good at a game when they're really not, and not being honest with themselves. So honing in on the kind of your key strength as a streamer, I think, is a great piece of advice, whether that is, you know, your skill at something, or you just know a lot about something, you educate people, or you have a strong personality, whatever it is, finding that is huge. So I love all those pieces of advice a lot. The questions are rolling in right now, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right into Q&A, because I want to give some time for that for sure.
Okay, I'm going to try to answer them.
Yeah, okay, sweet. First one I saw is from Diashon. He said, what do you look for in a stream you want to watch?
Okay, so I look for, I can kind of overlook sometimes, like, quality issues. I know not everyone, like, starting out is going to have, like, the best audio or webcam or whatever. Like, I can overlook some of that stuff, but if you're, like, screeching, that turns me off real quick. I don't like people who are, like, really, like, I mean, you know, I'm real open about, like, hey, guys, you know, we are working towards the next emote slot, because now as a partner, you know, sub points matter for that, or it's like, hey, we're raising money for this, whatever. But I don't like people who are like, hey, give me money, hey, you know, do all this stuff. Like, be really humble about stuff like that. And I look for uniqueness, and you know, that's what, you know, what is uniqueness really? It just kind of depends. I look for legit, genuine people, really. Like, if I can tell that somebody's, like, truly in it just to have fun, versus, like, people are like, how much money can I make today on Twitch? You know, like, I look for people who seem like they genuinely care about their community and care about their viewers.
Yeah, I think, and you also mentioned someone that's unique. I think that's, like, the crux of any channel that really takes off and grows is, I mean, that's always the question is this something I've never seen before on Twitch, or is this something that's being presented in a new way? I think just finding what really makes you unique and being honest about it and really critical, that's the crux of any good stream. So yeah, love that. Okay, so PowerNapper13 said, how realistic is it from someone who has a full-time work/school commitments and a variable schedule to grow a following on Twitch, and what would be a reasonable timeline? Very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, like, people who ask, like, well, how long do you think it's going to take me to do this when I have all these other things? Like, when I first started streaming, I worked 2 jobs. I worked Monday through Friday printing t-shirts, and then Saturday and Sunday at a pet store. And then I'd come home and stream. And again, I've been doing this for 4 years. So it's really hard to really put, like, a set timeline. I don't really have an answer to, like, and that's another thing, like, you can't really, like, compare yourself to other people, because every stream is different in every single way, because, like, the way you talk, the way you look, your accent, because, I mean, obviously I have one, the way you play the game, what you play, what time you play it, everybody's journey is going to be different, you know. Like, I know people who have hit partnership way faster than I have. You know, I know people who have been streaming longer than me and don't have partnership. So it's really hard to say, like, what a reasonable timeline would be for you to grow, especially with, like, you know, full-time work and school commitments. You know, like I said, it took me 4 years to get to partnership, and I've done the grind with, you know, working and stuff, and, like, I've been only streaming as my job for a year. So, you know, like, the majority of that was, like, hardcore working, like, all the time, and not hardly having time for anything else. So it just kind of depends. You know, I don't really have, like, and you probably want a good answer for that, and I don't have one. I feel really bad that I don't, but it all just depends on, like, who you are, what you do, how much you do it, what time you do it. So it's just kind of a tricky one.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. It's super subjective depending on, you know, what you're streaming. You said to grow a following on Twitch. That's so vague. Like, if you want partnership versus, you know, 10 people coming in your chat, very different timelines for that. And the best thing I can say in general is that it'll probably take longer than you think to hit that. I think most people can probably agree with that. And it's definitely going to take a lot of, like, experimenting and changing and testing. So be open to that and realize that you're going to have to make changes and try different things until you find something that works. Because even that's what Amy did, really, with her stream. It took her 4 years to find it, but she did find it eventually.
Yep.
So great question there. Hopefully that's still helpful to you in some capacity. Riddick 2072 said, do you think that things like the vault suit and the cool background items are a magic spell to victory? Should everyone go out and buy a vault suit and copy you?
Absolutely not. I mean, the vault suit worked for me, and, like, I've seen, because, you know, I watched the Fallout directory pretty closely. Like, I was, you know, I'd stop in and watch other streamers and stuff, and I was, like, the first one to get the vault suit, and I was pretty on top of the list there, and then slowly all these other vault suits started to appear.
Oh,
and I'm
really?
like, I wonder why. So, like, I mean, yeah, you see, like, this, you know, this quirky thing that works for somebody, and you're like, she got a vault suit. The secret to getting all these viewers is a vault suit.
It's not.
That's not. I just have to buy a vault suit. You know, I just have to go to, you know, my local Walmart and find the vault suit and buy it, I'm good, right? Or Amazon, let's buy this $30 vault suit onesie. That's it. That's all I need. I'm good. No, you know, like, that's just something I chose to do, and I did see, like, a lot of other people start doing it. And I mean, if you want to do it, that's fine. Like, if you genuinely love Fallout that much that you want to, like, do the whole cosplay thing, cool, go for it. I'm not gonna tell you no, but don't think that's the only reason why she got partnership. It's the suit. It's the suit. That's the secret. Just because somebody has, like, this thing doesn't mean it's gonna work for everybody. I mean, it might. I'm not saying don't go buy a vault suit because I have one, but don't think that if you do buy a vault suit that you're gonna be where I'm at. You know, I know that sounds kind of mean, but I don't want. I don't know. You know, it's something I noticed, and now if you go look, there's not as many vault suits.
Yeah,
they probably wore it twice. It's like, dang it, I'm not pulling in all these people. What's wrong? So yeah, that's the
Yeah.
answer to that.
I think the biggest
So
thing is that you came up with the idea yourself. It was a new idea people hadn't done before, and that's why it
yeah,
worked. So don't just go buy a vault suit. Think of something new and unique that people haven't done before, and then make that your thing. Because that's what Amy did. She didn't just copy other
right,
people putting on vault suit. She had the idea to put on a vault suit first. That's, I think, the important thing that matters, and that's what makes your stream stand out, is something new people haven't done. Again, the uniqueness that we talked about there. So
right,
I love
right.
that question, though. That's so it
Yeah,
cracks me up. People are actually copying you too with the vault suit.
and I mean, I'm not saying I'm not the first one. You know, there probably are other people who had them before,
Well, sure.
but but there's probably a lot that noticed that I had it, and then
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
did
you
it
kind of
because,
made it your
but
own thing, though, for sure.
yeah, but what do I know? So
Thanks for the question, Riddick. Gringa has a question. Angry Gringa. She says, "I can't." Okay. Ask if anytime did you try your new strategy of focusing on Fallout? Did you think it wasn't working? But did you push through? Okay. Basically, she's saying it like past tense was confusing, but
yeah, I'm
when
reading it.
you yeah, when you decided to move into Fallout, did you ever kind of doubt it and think maybe it wasn't working at all during that process? And if so, did you have to push through that? I think is the question.
Yeah, there were times that I was like, because like when 76 was announced, I was like, this is it, like I'm gonna get partnership this year, but I didn't say that to people. That was just like a personal like, well, I'm not gonna like bet money on it, but I really hope, and I think maybe if I play my cards right and I stay focused and I work hard for it, I might can accomplish this. And there were times that I was, and it's one of those things like you get kind of used to certain things, and I'm pretty high up on the 4 directory when I actually, which now I'm kind of like back and forth with 76 because it's getting with the betas and stuff. I'd be like the top dog, and then like, because this is something that will probably hurt and help at times, but I'll like while I'm streaming, like if I take a stretch break, I'll check the directory to see where I'm at in the listing, just to kind of gauge like, well, is there somebody like crazy big on, or like why am I having these numbers? Because sometimes there'll be just some random like really big partner, really well known person that is like, I'm gonna play Fallout today, and they're like 2,000 viewers, like. Oh, okay, that's cool. Or it's like, I'm playing, then I all of a sudden get like this huge surge of people, and it's like,
Oh wow.
oh, that big person went offline, and so everybody's trickling out to find another stream to find. So like I would be playing 4 or New Vegas or whatever, mostly 4, because New Vegas was a much smaller. I was almost the top of that every time because it's very small compared to 4. And like I'd get like bummed out like if I was like dropping a little bit, especially when I was pushing for like those averages for the path to partner. I was like, oh, tonight I'm not doing too hot. Oh my gosh, this is a failure. Like I try not to think like that, but you can't help it when you're like this close. Like, man, no, I don't need this not to be so like. Which like I didn't make I felt bad for thinking like that because I was doing really well, but you can't help but feel like that a little bit when you're like 73 out of 75, and it's like, and I'm like,
So
my average tonight was 70, and like, I know that sounds kind of like, oh, well, why would you complain about that? I'm not really complaining about it. It was just like, it was really stressful. And it's like, Fallout, am I really, is this what I should have been doing this whole time? But I think it was the right choice. Like, there was times where I would get, like, stressed about it. But overall, like, I was very happy with Fallout. And that's something I enjoy. So I didn't feel like I was pushing myself to do it. Like, it wasn't like well, I have to, because this is what works. But no, I really liked it.
Awesome. Yeah, I think you'll never know for sure if it's the right thing anyway. Like, there's always going to be some uncertainty until it works. So
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you definitely have to deal with that no matter what. Even if you're on paper the best path you can be on, there'll still be some uncertainty. But it's just pushing through that and committing to something for long enough to see if it works really, and staying strong through that. So great question from Gringa though, because I think that's a good point to cover. Okay, we're kind of running out of time here. I know I don't want to keep you too long because you have the beta coming up soon. So
Wait, I have a little bit of time, so it's okay.
Okay.
But as long as you're not running out of time, like I have like 2 hours.
Okay.
So we're good, yeah.
Cool. We'll jump through a few more then here.
Okay.
So Highly A Gaming said, do you think that as a streamer, your overlay theme and emotes have a big impact in your growth? Or is minimal best with a few personal emotes? So should you have a lot of fancy stuff and just extra stuff on your stream, or go minimal?
Okay, so that's something that like I have kind of like a experience with both, because like starting out, I think everybody thinks like the more stuff on screen the better. Everybody wants to see everything, so I've had like really crazy busy stuff, you know, and like you think like when you first start out like, hey, that looks cool because you can see everything. It's like, but as you grow like most streamers, I think most like experienced streamers will tell you like the less the best. Like the only thing I have is like I have like a webcam overlay like around my webcam, and I have like my social medias like on the bottom of it, like pop up and scroll through. So, you know, that it's kind of, you know, it's information, but it's not just like bam like in your face. And then I have like I use Streamlabs for like all of my alerts and like stuff like that. So I have like the event list.
Mm-hmm.
And I have it on 3, and I have it up in my corner. And then I have the bit boss in the other top corner. So like that's really it. And then I have like the little cup, the little tip cup in the corner. Excuse me, I'm still trying to wake up.
You're good.
I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. But like I have a few things, but and even my overlay and my stream would probably be busy to some people.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people literally just have a webcam, no overlay around the webcam, just webcam, and they might have like an alert that pops up, but they don't have anything to show like the event list or anything like that. So me personally, I think like a little's okay, but don't go like overboard. Don't have like these big like huge like overlays covering like half your screen and like all this like crap, you know. Some people really dig that. And if like that's your jam, cool, like more power to you. But I think that most people are going to tell you that, you know, less is best. And like as for emotes, just do things that you think people would like. Like at first mine were very like the typical like the love, you know, little heart, eyes, and then like a fail, and what was the other one? Oh, the good, like the like kind of like seems good, but it's like the Vault Boy-esque kind of type thing. It's like supposed to be me as like the little Vault Boy. So that was kind of like, you know, to my channel, but at the same time, it was kind of like people understood what that was. So it just kind of like personal choice as to like what you think would work best. I think as an affiliate, it would be really good to get like things like hype or love or fail, or, you know, things that are very general to like the emote world. And then as you get more, you can kind of have like those inside jokes, because like if as an affiliate, if I chose my tier 1 as like the moon pie mode, people would be like, okay, what? You know. So well, I don't get it, you know. Like the good one was my tier 1 for the longest time. So like people, you know, that was like a, okay, well, we use this when something good happens, or like this is kind of like a hype thing or whatever. So I don't know. It just kind of depends on what you want to do. I think that you'll have better luck if you do more of like a general idea, you know, like the love, fail, hype, whatever. But
yeah, it's definitely subjective, like you said, depending on your stream. But I think also the stuff you mentioned about the overlay cracks me up, because that's like a growing pain that basically any streamer goes through, is the process of just adding more and more and more and more and more onto the overlay. And then eventually just taking it all off and going down back to where you started. So I think in general, like you said, the minimalistic stuff is a good bet if you just want to be safe. And you'll find that over time, you'll kind of gravitate towards that as a streamer probably. So good advice there. That's actually, it's one of the things that we put in our new TRUgaming little animation thing, and it cracks me up every time. So I love it. Okay, going through a couple more questions here. Silent Kartoffel said, okay, this is another sarcastic question, but So what you're saying is I can't just slap on a vault suit, eat moon pies, have color changing lights, or just do what you do in general and expect to see success?
I'm afraid not, my friend. I mean, you can try. You can try. You might even can get a red wig, and you know, get a southern accent, and you might. Yeah, I'll just at that point, if somebody goes to that point, you know what? You can just change your username to mshoboslayer 2.
Yeah.
And I'll share everything with you if you go through all that trouble. But yeah, like, you know, like the little quirky things. I have like the moon pie thing, and like I have Philips Hue lights with this program called Lumia that is like chat interactive. Like subs can change the color of the lights like in the chat. Oh, and people are like, gotta get them lights. That's what it is. Or gotta eat them moon pies. I'm like, you know what? You're totally right. You go do you, boo. You buy those crazy expensive lights. You buy them moon pies. You buy that vault suit. You do it, and I will see you at the top. You know, like
knock yourself
out.
I
don't know. Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Oh man, that's awesome. Okay, the last question I see here, we're gonna end with this one. Well, before my general question, is from Aolura. Hopefully I said that right. Aolura. She said, I played Fallout 4 one night and got a huge raid that was way more than I was used to. I had sort of a mini panic attack and had to take a break from streaming for a week. Do you ever get anxious when streaming, or how do you deal with it? So anxiety in general. Good question.
Yeah, so that's kind of going back to like the other podcast I was on. Like I'm actually like I have like anxiety like really bad, and like you guys probably notice like here, like I will kind of talk too fast. And then I like lose my breath. Like when I say excuse me, it's because I run out of breath because I'm talking too much. And it's just like yeah, like it's like a nervous habit that I have. Like I'll talk too much. Now I don't really like you know, like we've said, I probably maybe 500 times during this podcast. I've been streaming for 4 years, so but I definitely used to get like those bad like anxiety panic attacks with like huge raids, like when you're like, you know, really small and you know, somebody comes in like and blows your mind with like this crazy raid. It can be like really awesome panic attack or really scary panic attack. Like once I got this raid from a guy playing RuneScape, and those of you who have streamed RuneScape know the community can be quite not so nice. And it was actually awful because like it was my birthday. And I was like, birthday stream. I wasn't even streaming RuneScape, so I don't know if the dude just like knew me from back when I streamed RuneScape or what. But he was like a really big dude. Like he came in with like 500, like a 500 viewer raid, and they started like tipping me like $1 like over and over again, saying like really nasty things, like calling me like every word ever, and then I got like a bunch of like chargebacks. Like they did that just purely to like mess with me and be really mean. And when I turned off like the text to speech for it, they started calling me even more names, like she's ungrateful for her money. And I'm like, I don't care about your $1 to call me this really awful word. Like save your $1. Like I don't need it that bad, you know. So I can understand, because I used to get like, you know, really bad, like, oh my gosh, there's so many people in here, what do I do? Ooh, you know, I gotta put on my best face. Like just roll with it. I like I said, I have anxiety like really bad, like really super bad. Probably worse than some people really realize. But just breathe and realize that we're all people, and it's just Twitch, you know, like. You got this. It's okay. I've had to do that before, like that scary birthday raid I was just talking about. I actually I took a break and I went and cried. Like I sat there for like a good 10-15 minutes, like with like a stretch break screen up, and I just cried. And then when I came back, my face was really puffy from crying, and I had to turn on like face rig. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's like, you know, you're like this little like 3D character, and they were like, oh, what are you hiding your face for? Oh, it's because you're so ugly. And I'm like, well, y'all just leave me alone, because but if it's a good raid, like if it's like a, hey, I just want to show you support, just like roll with it. I know you're probably going to be like shaking inside because I used to do that, but it's like, you know, really try to see it in like a positive thing. Like, you know what? This is just, I could potentially get these people to like really like my channel. And, you know, just try to, don't get scared, you know, like just try to, and some people like to, like hide their view count. Me personally, I don't, because I like to kind of gauge like where I'm at, you know, when I like plug certain things or whatever. But if you get like really bad anxiety from like numbers, just hide your view count for a while. If, you know, it bothers you that bad, and then once you get used to talking to people a little more, then, you know, start like looking at it if you want. I mean, some people don't ever, but it'll be okay. I've been there many times, and it is something like really hard to deal with, and I don't really have like a good answer as to like, how do you not feel like that? Because I still feel like that a lot. So
Yeah.
but it's okay. You're not alone. You're not the only one. And just realize when people raid you for good intentions, that it's a good thing, and just kind of like be like, wow, thank you guys for being here, like that's awesome, I hope you guys like my channel, you know. And a lot of people understand, like just be like, hey, sorry, I might be a little weird right now, it's just, you know, I got a little bit of anxiety. And a lot of people understand that, you know. Like I'll tell people that, like, I'm being a little weird today, I'm a little awkward, so just kind of forgive me. And a lot of people are like, yo, me too, it's okay, you good. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think also, in my experience at least, it definitely gets easier with time and experience just doing it. Because I was the
yeah.
same way. I mean, I used to get super nervous. Like, I remember our first TRUgaming like giveaway stream. There was like 100+ people on chat, and I was just like losing my mind. And just over time doing it more and going through that, you definitely get used to it. I mean, you never like get immune to it, but it gets a lot easier, and you kind of know what to expect and come up with ways to deal with it. With somebody else, or just different ways to do it. So hang in there, because once you go through it a couple times, it does get easier, I would say, with dealing with that kind of thing. But great question. And anxiety is always a great topic for streamers in general. So thanks for bringing that up, I can't say this name. Ailura. I'll say Ailura. Thank you so much. That is going to be all the viewer questions for today. My last question for Amy, and I asked this last time, but I'll ask it again because maybe it changed. If you had to give one piece of advice to someone who's brand new to streaming about anything, what would you tell them?
I think I said this on the last podcast, but so I'm gonna say like the same thing. Don't take it too seriously. Like obviously care, but don't get too wrapped up into it. And kind of going off what I said earlier, like don't spend a ton of money on stuff. You don't need like stupid expensive stuff. Just wait till Black Friday. Black Friday's coming up, okay? Everybody who's new to streaming or you want to get new stuff, Black Friday, you will get so many good deals. Like I have like straight up like Razer everything, and like my Blue Yeti and my webcams and stuff. Like I think I got like almost everything that I have like 3 or 4 years ago for like half price. Black Friday. Like that was when I really like started to upgrade stuff. If you just wait, you don't have to blow like a ton of money on stuff to do well. Like I said, I mean a Blue Yeti, like they're kind of pricey, but you can get them pretty cheap on Black Friday, and they're not like the absolute best, but I mean they're pretty good in my opinion. I mean, I'm not a big audio person, but I mean people can hear me and it sounds okay. Hey, we're rolling. That's okay. And like C920 webcam, you know, you can get them for like $40 on sale.
Yep.
Good webcam. Do what you got to do. And yeah, just like don't take things too seriously, and don't get bummed out if you've been doing it for a while, because like the absolute beginning of this year, I was kind of in a slump because like, I mean, my whole 4 years has definitely been a roller coaster. It's just been like up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And like the beginning of this year, I was pulling like probably 15 or so viewers, and now I think I don't like to talk about numbers a lot, but if I went and looked at my dashboard right now, I think my 30-day average right now is like 92.
Wow.
So, you know, like you just take your time. Don't be too serious about it. Don't get bummed out. And that's something that's really hard, like for me, because like, again, roller coaster. I'd get up to those like highs, and then I get down to a slump. I'm like, dang, like man, you know, this sucks. Like, I was doing so good, and now I'm here. Like, what happened? Taking, you know, taking in consideration things like school, holidays, things like that. Timing, again, schedule. You know, think about your schedule, people. Don't let that stuff get you down, because it definitely will if you let it. But just realize, you know, it takes time. It takes time, and don't depend on other people to get you there. Because, like, I hit partnership with a 1.6% rate host. Don't think that if you butt up with somebody and get all those rates and hosts, that you're gonna make. I mean, it could help you, but don't depend on somebody else for your success. Yeah. And don't think because somebody has that check mark that they're better than you. That doesn't mean crap. Because I know a lot of people who have partner who got it based on like an esports team or something like that. You know, don't think less of yourself because you don't have that check mark. Because I know a lot of affiliates that do better than I do. And I know a lot of partners that, you know, I'm like, how? You know, so like, there's a lot of good content out there, and don't feel like your content is less if you are only an affiliate, or if you've applied for partnership and you've been denied. Like, I know it can like be absolutely soul crushing. I've been there plenty of times myself, trust me. Just keep working for it. It just takes some time, and don't get discouraged. Because like I said, I know a lot of times my favorite streamers are affiliates, or even not even affiliates. You know, like, don't think that your content isn't worth anything just because Twitch denies you partnership. Just work at it. Like I said, it took me till about a month ago, you know, and like you will feel like that sometimes. You can't help it. I'd be a hypocrite if I'm like, don't feel like that, because just don't. Like, you shouldn't, because I felt like that about myself. But yeah, it just takes time, and everybody's journey is going to be different. Like I said earlier, like, your voice, your looks, the way you play the game, all these things can affect that. So just because somebody gets partnership before you do, that doesn't matter. Just because somebody gets affiliate, or, you know, whatever, that it doesn't matter, because they are not you. You know, like, you will get it on your own time if you stick with it. Focus on your strengths, and you know, don't give up. Because a lot of people are like, well, I didn't get it in a year, so I'm gonna quit. So
try 4 years.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if I said that, well, I wouldn't be here right now. So
Awesome. Those are all great pieces of advice. Really boils down to patience, I think, is the biggest thing I heard. So
yes,
love that.
Patience.
Yeah,
it's hard sometimes, but it's worth it. I promise you, because it's difficult. And there have been times where I've said to myself, like, well, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore, you know. But and if you have to, take a break. If you get so frustrated and you get so disappointed and stuff, just take a break. Kind of like think about it, and like sometimes like rebrand yourself, you know, like sometimes that'll help. I really haven't done that, but I know some people that's really helped. But yeah, I mean, just take a look at yourself. Don't depend on other people, and realize that you can do this for yourself.
Awesome. Yeah, if you guys are dealing with burnout, or wondering how to take a break, make sure you check out Amy's other podcast with us, which was a couple weeks back, about burnout and mental health. Really great episode, and you can get more for there. And of course, if you have questions about anything we talked about today, if you want to learn more about how Amy hit partner, make sure you check her out on her own channel. Which, Amy, where can people find you if they want to check you out?
Everything is just mshoboslayer. And I have almost every social media you can think of. Twitter, Instagram. I have a Facebook page. It's just all mshoboslayer.
Awesome. If you guys are listening to like the audio podcast, all links are in the description of the podcast, so check that out. And for those of you guys watching, we are on everything: Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Pocket Casts, Anchor. If you listen to podcasts, you can check out this episode and like 80 plus other episodes on there as well. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for coming out. Amy, anything else you want to add before we sign off here?
I think we're good. Just be good and do good, you know?
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming out. We'll be back tomorrow with Velok and some other guests for the Phone and Friday edition. But until then, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And stick around for a little raid host bomb after this. But see you guys later. Thank you. That's it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the show, and I really hope that you got a lot of value and learned some important lessons from this week. 2 things before you go I would ask you to do for us. Number 1, please join the community. If you're listening to the show and you've been listening for a long time, now's the time to jump in, guys. We have a StreamKey specific Discord server for the show community. It tells you all the updates on the schedule, when we'll be posting the content, like the podcast like this, as well as when we'll actually be live on Twitch recording it if you want to be there for the call-in shows or to watch the interview and ask questions live. Secondly, please consider leaving us a review if you enjoyed the show, especially on iTunes. iTunes is sort of the real key player for podcast platforms, so please consider leaving us a review on there if you do listen on iTunes or iOS. But if you don't, you're also free to leave a review on things like Stitcher or whatever platform you're on. Really helps us grow the show and also get some feedback in terms of if you'd like to see things improved or what we're doing right. That's it for this week, though, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you probably Thursday. Adios.